Yeah, it's been a wild year. Space tourism has been pretty hot ever since Virgin Galactic came public over a year ago. Maybe we're looking at 2 years now. At this point, space back in the headlines in the past week. Jeff Bezos announcing on Instagram that he and his brother will be among the crew when Blue Origin does its first manned space flight with their New Shepard spacecraft in July. What should we be paying attention to with this story?
So July 20th, Jeff Bezos could be launched into space with his brother July 20th if the weather looks good. And this is sort of, the tortoise and the hare story. We've heard a lot about SpaceX, obviously. We've heard a lot about Virgin Galactic and Blue Origin. I mean, you don't not hear about a Jeff Bezos product, but it's sort of they've just been meandering along at their own pace. And look out, here they are now. And yeah, if so, he will beat Richard Branson, or he could, we should say. Richard Branson, Virgin Galactic, he had hoped to go last summer for his 70th birthday. A lot went wrong with that timetable. COVID gets part of the blame, but partially, this is complicated and you got to get it right. So it looked like Richard Branson would be our first billionaire in space. Jeff Bezos is going to try and jump the line and get up there next month.
Yeah, it's the battle of the billionaires here. I mean, if do you feel like and I have tweeted about this, right? Who had Bezos get into space before Musk? Do you feel like this is a chip on the shoulder for the other billionaires in this game?
I think it is. I think it probably matters to them more than it should to us. I mean, to that point, Richard Branson said one tweet that was this is great, congratulations, and also a tweet, hey, I may go on the next test flight in early July. So, I mean, we'll see about that because he's not, that'll take FAA approval. But yeah, this is a big deal and it does matter. We're talking about it. This is a niche opportunity. Hype is going to matter and it's a very different experience. I think there's a lot, I think the market may just play out as it does, but this is largely hopes and dreams and hype and more than anything. And so, it doesn't really matter to me who goes up first, but the fact we're talking about it, the fact that this is sort of creating the buzz, creating the market, it's not insignificant for these guys either.
Yeah, and I think it's worth noting, I think to fly on Virgin Galactic, it's like $250,000 to buy a ticket. So the addressable market for this really is kind of billionaires fulfilling their childhood dream when we think about who can afford these types of things. So it shouldn't really surprise us, given the nature of the industry at this point, that it's billionaires fighting over who's going to get to space first, and probably going to be lots more billionaires before folks like me and you are flying on these spacecraft. So maybe that goes to the size of the market today. Maybe something we wanted to talk about. Lots of excitement here, but still, this is a very small market.
This is a small market. I think space tourism for the time being is very small, very select, as you say, with the ticket prices. Also, it remains to be seen once people do this. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be cool to be weightless for a second, but there was a Wall Street Journal story today, or the other day, talking about the experience. Like most people, when they get zero gravity for the first time, vomit. Which, it's not a great thing to talk about in a business podcast, but it remains to be seen if these initial Yelp reviews are really like, wow, I still want to do this. Yeah, I mean, the bigger market right now is these are serious companies trying serious things to get to space. And there is a market for that with commercial launches with NASA. There are limits to this market, but, this is sort of this old boy network, which was, Boeing, Orbital Science, which is now owned by Northrop, a couple of players is being disrupted by newcomers, which is both very exciting and very worrisome because it's not a huge market, and we're going to have to see how that all plays out.
Right. If you're cutting it up into more pieces, then that presents some challenges. I think one other thing that's interesting is we're moving into this commercial space travel universe more and more, assuming Bezos and Branson are successfully able to complete their flights. These are going to be the first paying customers to go on these flights. I mean, I guess they paid to start the company. I mean, it's not like they're selling outside tickets, but still, this is very new. It's still something that is not regulated by the FAA. I think that'll be a big milestone when we have this is a mature enough industry that you don't have to sign a waiver to hop on the rocket ship. At what point do you say, okay, this isn't an emerging industry and this thing is mature? Are there any kind of signposts we should be looking for?
Well, I think we're in agreement here, and I think you're right. If the FAA is actually getting involved, I think that would be sort of the good housekeeping seal of approval, where instead of, I mean, it's still going to be a massive waiver. Look, these days there's a massive waiver if you almost anywhere, but so yes, there's going to be waivers, but I think this is one of those businesses that regulation helps, and they're going to come in. So I think that is a sign of maturity. I also think just I mean, it's a weird market right now for these guys where they are doing things at cost or below cost. And when we see how these businesses play out, when we start, I mean, whether or not if I don't, I'm not sure Bezos has any desire to take Blue Origin public, so we may, but kind of, we are going to reach a critical mass where there's actual results, there's an actual business, and we're going to see how big it is. And it may it could sort of squash some of the dreams of investors, or it could show, wow, yeah, they're going to have to invent markets here. And I think the next stage of this is to see how big those markets can be, and how successful they are in sort of finding uses for these things.